Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for becoming our panelists for today. Our topic for today is our Rona to Contain Youth Talk. And this is being sponsored by Cnovations, which is a consulting company that will be responsible for helping healthcare industries in terms of becoming nationally recognized, helping them with surveys, anyone helping them with having issues surrounding opportunities for improvement with it. We also do project building, from building emergency departments from the ground up, and as well as helping people with their infrastructure in terms of well. So at this particular time, with further ado, I'm going to introduce Dr. Moshe Lewis, who's a colleague and a friend of mine. We go all the way back and home from New York City, and now he's gone into California, and I'll give him an opportunity to share his information with you and then introduce to our moderator. Thank you much. Dr. Lewis.
Sure. Good morning, and I'm so delighted to have all of our panelists that are here. You really honor me with your presence, and it's hard to really imagine the depth of what that means. But I think as our viewers continue to watch today, they'll really see what you all bring to the table. And it's a voice that can't be heard enough, especially in these times. As Dr. Conrad said, I'm also a physician, and my major focus is in public health. And I really like getting to hear what people have to say and then helping them through whatever disease processes or things that they may be encountering with their health. I've been practicing full-time every day of the week, sometimes even Saturdays. I hate to admit that, but for now, over 15 years. And I was delighted to stumble across Mr. Arnold Paxton, who's with us today as our moderator and a host. Aaron has really just inspired me by his presence, by his depth. He has a show which I've been watching. He has books out, but more importantly, CNN has pointed to him as one of the up and coming under 30 influencers and the top CEO in his field who rock. And I love that because he presents as very humble, he presents as very modest, but he's a man that walks with the Lord, and he's also someone who really has taken the world by storm, because when he's lecturing at places like Harvard University and really sort of bringing down the house, and I've watched a lot of his talks on TED Talks and things like that, people really relate to him. And so without even further ado, I present to you Aaron Arnold Paxton as our moderator today. Take it away, Aaron.
Hey, thank you. First of all, I'm not under 30 anymore, so, but I still feel like it's so good. Thanks for having me. It's a blessing to be here with everybody. You know, I'll just share my testimony since probably March 12th, when this really started to affect me as far as just COVID, and then just my life just changing completely. As an entrepreneur, it kind of almost financially immediately kind of just halted everything for me. And so it was just like, it was very scary. And then the other thing that got to me is I became immediately bored, because I was like, what do I do? Like, I'm sitting in the house. I think somebody alluded to earlier, just watching Netflix and just doing whatever that you do. And I actually created a series called Bored Scared, where I just interview some of my celebrity friends, and we just talk about, you know, like what's going on in the world and how it's affecting us. So for me, I want to know who will be the first brave soul, but I would really like to know, like, what was like your initial response, like once you found out maybe school was going to close down or you had to start doing everything online? Like, what was your initial response to that, or initial reaction?
I'll go.
Okay.
So I am a college rising now senior, and when COVID had happened at the time, I was on spring break, and I already had the intentions of going back home to Georgia because I go to school out of state in Florida. And I just started to realize, why are we having so many problems? Why is my school sending all these emails? And my school is a heavily international school, and a lot of students were traveling back home, whether that be Asia, Europe, you name it. And I remember I was on my way back to Atlanta, and I get an email being like, if possible, do not return back to school. Do not return back to the campus. And I was like, what? Are you guys serious right now? And so I came to Atlanta that Sunday. I was back in Florida packing my things and all my belongings from my apartment by that Tuesday, Wednesday. So my school, we do not have online like curriculum or platform. So it was very hard for my school to adjust. So I was basically out of school for a whole month.
Wow.
Just trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to get my assignments in? is this going to affect my GPA? Is this messing with internships? Because I already had an internship secured, but they're not open to doing online platforms. So it was very different, and it shook up a lot. Definitely. I'm a small business owner as well, so that put a halt on some things as well too. So COVID definitely took a toll, but it's all about how you adapt in that situation. And I feel like most people, we had no choice but to adapt. So
Absolutely. Parker, what about you as far as like high school, and like what was the shock factor?
Yeah, my initial thought was, let's go. I'm happy.
I love transparency. That's dope.
I was sitting there like, we actually have a chance of, like getting off of school. And I was like, I'm with it. And then we figured out we were doing online school. See, our online school was kind of different. All of our teachers gave us a bunch of assignments on Monday, and we all had to finish on Thursday. So it was kind of a easy way to get your assignments done. So I got mine done in like an hour. So I was like, whatever. But for like some of the students that go for like AP and all that, they have a lot of work. And I'm like, man, that could be tough.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm fortunate enough not to have a bunch of work as like the smarter people in the school.
Parker, I'm sure you're just as smart.
Yeah.
So I have a question to any of you high schools that are willing to answer. So my daughter graduated from high school like last week, but she was a senior. So like prom, graduation, I mean, everything was just kind of wiped out. I mean, from a social vantage point, as far as like the day-to-day interaction, any of you guys that play golf or something like that, like how was that affected, like just your mental? Because, now you're, at least for a period of time, like you're in the house, you might be able to FaceTime people, but you just can't hang out like you might normally do. So how has that affected any of you guys?
It affected me a lot because they closed down our golf course up here, and I was just getting back into my groove with golf.
Okay.
So whenever they closed that down, they finally opened it back up a couple weeks ago. So I've been going up there and playing a few. But it really took a toll. Like I could tell that I'd gotten a lot worse without the regular season.
Got you. Meia, is that how you pronounce your name?
Yes.
Okay, so you said you had a 1-year-old. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So with that, and I mean, how, like, what is it like to be a new mom in the midst of all this, like, just uncertainty?
It's frustrating. Let's just put it out there, because I am going back from, I'm on school, and so I'm online, and then I'm also traveling to school. And so going back and forth with a 1-year-old, it's very hard, especially when you can't take them certain places. I can't even go into the grocery store because I don't feel comfortable with, him touching certain stuff or people getting in his face. And it can be very challenging because, I can't do the stuff that I was so used to doing now that all this is going on. And now that I have a actual family member who has COVID-19, it's really taken a toll. So it's very hard, but we're gonna get through it.
Yeah. So like mentally and or spiritually, like what do you guys do to kind of just to counter like all of this the negative energy or just some of the challenges that you face? Because my concern is like, people are telling us like physically what not to do, as far as not to touch this or not to touch that or to wear a mask, but I think a lot of times things that are overlooked is just our mental and like just the stress that's put on us day to day, because it does cause anxiety. I have friends that have had panic attacks. I know I've experienced anxiety at certain times. So like, how are you guys handling that, if at all? I mean, it might not be any, but if you have it, how are you guys handling it? Jaleel?
I mean, it's really unfortunate, and it's not good that people are, receiving this virus and things like that. I mean, I really haven't had anxiety from it because, I'm blessed to be, in the right situation. Now I'm majority at home or at work. So, I'm not really around it at all. So, I'm really not feeling, it's not really taking a lot of like, a toll on me because, I'm not in that area, I'm trying to say.
No, I understand. So, question back to you. Like my daughter's about to turn 18 in a couple of days, and she pretty much is like, from a health vantage point, she's not concerned. In my mind, I'm like, that's just what it is. If I was 17 or 18, I probably would not be concerned as well. Do you guys kind of share the same sentiment? Like, you're concerned about other people, but as far as like your individual health, because you guys are so young, do you have that feeling of invincibility, or how do you guys go about your day to day?
Well, I mean, I still watch out and stuff like that, stay healthy no matter what, with or without this virus. But I mean, I don't really think about like, oh, I'm going to get it and stuff like that. Because I mean, I'm around people almost every day and stuff like that. And, the main thing is like keeping yourself and other people healthy and clean and stuff like that. So, I try not to think, I just consider it like a normal day. You know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Parker, what about yourself?
I had baseball, so I didn't have much to do until this week. We started workouts, so it's just different in that aspect. But I never had to worry about the virus other than for my peers, others around me, because they are kind of scared of getting it, and if they get it, they don't get to go to work. So that's like a big hit on the whole entire family, and we wouldn't want that. So I still watch out and hopefully, stay aware of my surroundings. Right. So I, give it to my parents.
Mr. Sims, what about yourself?
Well, when it all started, I kind of had that feeling of, I'm young, it's not really going to affect me. But but a few weeks into it, my parents sat me and my sister down and said, like, wherever y'all go, like, make sure y'all wear masks, gloves, practice social distancing, because my mom's been lucky enough she's been able to work from home, but my dad still has to go into the office. And he said that if he gets sick with it, then he could be out for many weeks and he won't be able to bring home some income.
Right. Absolutely. What are there programs in your area where you guys are, like, for example, tomorrow my daughter and I are going to volunteer with the NAACP. We're just going to hand out food to seniors. Like, are there things, social activities that you guys can participate in to help, or is there something that you would want to create in order to help those that might be less fortunate or affected by this? Anybody can answer that. Nakiya, you seem like your mind is
I feel like with what's going on right now, a lot of, especially in Atlanta, a lot of our like resources have been put towards advocating and protesting right now. But there have been a few instances where we can help with the homeless. We can go to shelters, just donating, helping them get more supplies, giving food out. So that's what's going on right now, but a lot of it's been taken up by what's been going on recently in the news. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm just curious, like, when this is over, I mean, when things can go back to semi-normal, whether you play golf or baseball or whatever, like, what is the first thing that you will do, or that maybe you never did before, or you just miss doing? And I want everybody to answer this question.
I'm on the first flight out. I miss traveling. I am on the first flight out to the beach. You name it.
All right.
Because I had a beach trip planned and it got canceled right in between spring break. So the beach.
Okay. All right.
And here I was supposed to go to on a cruise or this week actually, and to Florida. So hopefully go to the beach and actually enjoy my vacation. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Parker.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to go to the beach last week, but I just want to get back in the swing of things with baseball. Really, I mean, our season got canceled right in the middle. We were doing well, so I'm ready to get back.
So, Mr. Sims, what about yourself?
Definitely gonna go see some friends I haven't seen since this all started.
All right.
And some family members.
Okay. For me, like, I'm gonna host an all-white day party on a rooftop somewhere here in Atlanta. which is gonna be crazy. And I'm gonna get on a plane and I'm gonna go to Prague because I was supposed to go to Prague before all this stuff happened, and I'm just ready to go. So that's what I'm gonna do. So now I appreciate you guys sharing that. Before I continue, like, are there just any questions that you might have for me? Especially, you know, like I said, I know, you know, Nakiya, like you're an entrepreneur. You talked about internships being canceled and things. I have a lot of mentees that are going through the same thing. I mean, I've experienced some of that on my own. So, like, do you guys have any questions for me?
I really want to know, because you're a parent, and Meia, I hope I pronounced your name right.
Yeah.
I just want to know, as a parent, you know, how do you manage, you know, keeping your kids safe and, you know, just, you know, handling the day-to-day during a pandemic? And especially with you have a lot on your plate, Mr. Aaron, so I can only imagine.
I mean, I'm just, well, one, as far as a lot of my plate, I'm just making sure I stay busy. So this time for me has been about creation. And so I do feel like, so there's the Darwin theory is necessity is the mother of invention. And so I do feel like in the midst of, in spite of everything that's going on, like there's a lot of opportunity to breed innovation and creativity. So you kind of just have to stay focused on that level. Selfishly, like I was hurt because it took my daughter's graduation away. It took her prom away, even though she went on prom last year. But I just want her to be happy. But I mean, she's very resilient. She's moved on now. Now I'm just hoping that she could start college in the fall and have a actual fall semester. Like fall semester is always like just a really dope experience, especially in the state of Florida, especially during football season, if we have that. So I just want her to be able to experience what, you know, others that have come before her. But, you know, I mean, she's a little cocky, so she's not worried about that. You know, she's just, you know, even at work, she's like, I wear my gloves and I'll be okay. Like none of her friends, none of them are worried about it. So I'm just like, all right, cool. You know, just be safe. And you kind of alluded to it earlier. My concern now has transferred over from not just COVID, but to everything else that's going on around the country and here in Atlanta and Metro Atlanta with the protests and things of that nature. So, you know, she has her own car, and I just want her to be safe and cognizant of what's happening. You know, I've always, you know, talked to her what to do if she gets pulled over and so forth, and not to be as heavy on the gas pedal as she is. So, you know, that's just always my concern. More so than everything else. But, you know, like myself, I'm just taking all the precautions. I'm probably OCD when it comes to like cleaning. Like every time I get out the car, I spray, wipe down my car with Lysol. But at the same token, I realize you can't overdo it to the point where it causes you anxiety, because anxiety leads to stress, and stress can kill too. So, you know, I think like Meia said, or somebody said, like, I just watch Netflix, play video games. I've been doing a lot of writing. A ton of writing. Thank God for that ESPN series on Michael Jordan.
Hello.
I'm from Chicago originally, so that was dope. And then just trying not to do a lot of online shopping, because I bought way more sneakers than I need to during this time period. But yeah, so I mean, that's just kind of how I've been affected. But I think for those of us that are here and healthy, I think it's, you know, you want to pay respect and homage to those that have perished because of this, because of COVID, but also I think those lives, you don't want everything to be in vain. So you have to find and extract the good from some of this, you know? So, I mean, even if like Mr. Sims, you know, you can't necessarily get on the golf course, but there you know, there has to be other things that you could do to kind of just fine tune, even if it's just your mental, even if it's just watching just old YouTube videos of just golf tournaments and stuff like that, and just kind of digging in and just making sure that your cerebral is good. And, you know, the same thing with you, Parker. Like I played baseball in high school. So, you know, I understand the challenge of not being physically to be out there, but I think a lot of times how you get better as an athlete is just by watching others and creating that mental muscle memory. So I think those are things that you can do. And then, you know, Miss Bivins, you know, you have I mean, wow, you have a talent. You have a 1-year-old. You have a baby. But I mean, I look at it like you've made it this far, and you'll continue to thrive. And you know, I think once you become a parent, like it brings something even greater and better out of you. It makes you even more purposeful. And so now, like, you're starting. If it might seem like the world is burning, and it is a little bit. But I've just always looked at things through a positive prism and like what good can come out of this versus the bad. 'Cause we already know the challenge of the bad, right? And especially Nakiya with your magazine, the fact that you have a digital platform. I mean, you have eyeballs more so than you might normally even have because everybody's so focused on, just for those people that can't go anywhere. I mean, people are just at home looking for things, looking for content, which is why I even created my own series because I was like, I need to do something to keep my skills halfway fresh and sharp. And, people are not out as much as they, normally are. So, you just have to figure out ways to take advantage of this and then just keep it moving. But I've had my moments, don't get it twisted. And so one thing for those of you guys in high school and college, like one thing nobody ever talked about when I was in high school, college, nobody ever talked about like protecting my spirit or my mental. Like it was always just get your degree and then, just schoolwork, that's all they talked about. Just graduate. And so the one thing I've learned post-college is like, just make sure you have a good support system around you of people that you could talk to and build off of because, I know in the state of Georgia, teen suicide, I think we're ranked number 3 in the country, or at least we were several years ago. And because I have a teenage daughter, like that's, I just see some of the things that are happening with some of our friends or some of my friends' children. So, just make sure you guys do what you got to do to protect your spirit. For all the young men on the phone, it's not about being weak. It's about being smart, So it's, if you got to cry, let it out, wipe the tears away and get back to it. Whatever it is you have to do, to protect your spirit, make sure you do it. So, yeah. So I'm sorry, I'm probably long-winded, but I just wanted to make sure I got that message out there. What is so, you guys talked about traveling and things of that nature. What is the one thing that you feel like you took for granted that you now don't take for granted because of COVID? We can start with you, Ms. Bivins.
This may be like a stretch, but I would say my parents, honestly, because, we think our parents are going to be here all the time and they're going to do this and that. But like my parents have been like my backbone this entire process, especially with being with a 1-year-old and then even with COVID. Like they've helped me with so many things. They've helped me, spiritually because my parents are pastors. And so it's really like, you might think your parents are like, but they really are there for me. And so it's been great having them there. So.
Yeah. Mr. Sims, what about yourself? Like, what's the one thing that you're like, man, I really took that for granted?
I'd probably have to say maybe my friends, probably, because you never really know how much you need them until times like these hit. That's when you know like who your real friends are and who the real ones aren't. But yeah, just probably my friends.
Yeah. What about yourself, Mr. Jaleel?
Probably about, just life in general. Because like without this pandemic going around, you just go through like Monday through Saturday, every day, pretty much the same thing. And, since you're not like as busy interacting with friends and like social meetings and et cetera, you have more time to think about, what's going around and just think about your life choices. How's life been going? And like, take it easy and slow. You don't always want to be busy all the time. So, it's I would say a good break in some ways, but you're also keeping yourself active.
Right. So. Parker?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing as Jaleel. Like life in general, it's just people have their ups and downs in life, and it could be way worse than others. So, you just got to think about how great yours is compared to others.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just be blessed,
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's just it.
Nakiya?
Definitely agreeing with Jaleel and Parker. Life, like I'm very blessed and very fortunate to not have anybody directly affected by COVID. I'm in good health. I'm one of those people who have the pre-existing conditions, so I have to be extra careful. So I'm just very blessed that I've been protected and safe, and that my family has been as well. and that I have a roof over my head.
Right.
My family comes home every time they leave the house. They come back safely. Just those little things, you know, you don't take them for granted.
Absolutely. Has social media, do you feel like it's been good during this time, or has it been a hindrance, or a little bit of both? Like, what do you guys think about that? Because I know like all of us have been on social media, like probably way more than we need to during this. So how have you guys managed it?
I mean, like as of recently, what's been going on, I try to take a little break and hiatus because it's been real heavy on social media lately. But before, when it was just COVID, you know, Twitter, they make light in the situations, you know, you can crack jokes here and there. It brought a light space during this, you know, trying time. But now it's like, all right, gotta simmer down social media use a little bit. We don't want to be consumed by this because people's thoughts and beliefs and stuff, they can bog down on the mental and spirit a little bit. So just knowing when to take that breather when you know you need to take a break and step back has been good.
Yeah, Parker, what about just, I saw your face when I asked that question, Parker.
Yeah, it's just, social media can do a lot of things for you. It can make you laugh, it can make you cry, it can do whatever to you. So it's just always gonna be there in times like this, you know. Like, I have Instagram, so that can make me laugh a lot, especially with all the people I follow on there. But so it's just something I can go and look at and feel either safe or concerned, I guess, for others.
So, I mean, is it about, because obviously you can follow whoever you want to follow, so do you feel like you can control the energy that you're
Yeah, I can control what I see on there, and that kind of gives me a good feeling that I don't have to see stuff I don't want to.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. I like that. Miss Bivins, how about yourself?
Social media has kind of been consuming, especially like Nakiya said, it's been a lot of hectic things going on, but it has its moments where it's hilarious, you know, it gives you that comic relief of what's going on. And Twitter, absolutely, you know, you can find anything on Twitter. So it's definitely had its moments of good and bad, but I've definitely been trying to take a step back and just kind of recollect myself, just because it's been a lot going on, especially with, you know, everything that's been going on. So.
All right. Jaleel, what about yourself?
Yeah, I agree with Meia. You know, social media, people have the right to, you know, post their own opinions and, you know, what they believe in and stuff like that. You know, I feel like, you know, it's taking a toll on people because, you know, people are expressing their, you know, beliefs and feelings too much. And, you know, some people either agree or some people just, you know, totally disagree and, like, despite that person. So, you know, I feel like it's a mixed feelings.
Right, right. Mr. Sims, what about you?
Kind of going on with what Jay and Meia said. I'm definitely on it more than I had been. But I tried to stay away from it as much as I can. Like, if I'm playing guitar, playing basketball, playing golf, whatever, like I'll try not to look at my phone or social media at all. So.
Okay. All right. This is in particular for you guys that are in high school, because I think back to when I was in high school, and I love my dad. He's amazing, but he would have absolutely driven me crazy if I had. Yeah, I mean, even when my dad comes to see me now, like, it's like he's always coming to my house telling me to move it. He just can't help it. It's like I'm still his little guy, his little boy, or whatever. So how have you guys handled being in the house with your parents? Like, I mean, what do you do? Like, how do you handle it?
Well, gratefully, I do have a job and I'm still working, you know, receiving a source of income. But, you know, real talk, it's nice to, you know, have my parents, you know, in the house. You know, my dad, you know, he travels a lot and stuff like that. And, you know, even though he would come home, you know, pretty regularly and stuff like that, you know, it's pretty good seeing him because, you know, he'd come home for like, you know, the weekend or the week and then, you know, go back out. So it's, you know, it's nice to see everyone for an extended amount of time because that hasn't happened in a while.
All right, cool beans. Parker?
Fortunately, I have a basketball hoop outside so I can get away from them a lot.
Nice.
So I just go out there when they, you know, get over the edge, which
Yeah.
is
That's a politically correct way to put it.
quite often, I guess.
Okay.
So, yeah, my mom's actually in the background, so she's working right now. So, yeah, my basketball, go outside is probably the main way I'll get away from them, as far away from them as possible.
Okay.
When they, they're in the house either yelling or just when they don't want to be bothered.
Yeah.
You know?
All right.
So that's just it.
All right. Cool beans. Mr. Sims, what about yourself?
To get away from my parents, I'd go outside and go for a run, or I'd go upstairs and play Xbox, or
Okay, dope.
but I've also had time to like bond with my family a lot more than we wouldn't have during the school week, because we're all so busy with school and work and everything. But
Okay.
definitely have to get out a few times, get away from them and everything. So
Yeah. Nah, I've always wondered like how you guys were dealing with that, because I mean, you know, I live by myself. I'm single, so I've had the benefit of, I haven't had to worry about being like cooped up with anybody or anything like that. But I was just like, oh man, I just know my dad would have me doing all types of chores and things that I don't even have to normally do. It would be hectic. But okay, cool. Mr. Lewis, can we keep going, or like I know like you said just 30 minutes, but you know.
Sure, yeah, if you've got another question, and I'm just going to chime in 3 seconds and say what I love about all your answers is that, you know, they're hitting home, I'm sure, for Dr. Brown too, as a parent, you know, and as a dad. And I know where, you know, I was, like you said, just in high school and stuff like that. So I'm like trying to contain all the laughter and stuff like that, because I hear some of the parent things and I'm like, okay, you need to chill a little bit because you're a little bit too much like Aaron's dad, or, you know, dad. It's okay, you need to come home sometime and spend some time with the family. And you know, Parker, it's like, okay, no, it's great. You can get away too, because sometimes we could be overbearing. But yeah, sure. You got another one or two. Let's hit them up.
Yeah, I mean, I would be remiss not to ask this question, but how are you guys affected, if at all, or feel about what's transpired in the last 10 days as far as the protests and George Floyd and the police brutality, that on top of the whole COVID thing? I mean, is it kind of for you guys business as usual, or have you guys taken time to pause and kind of just really take a look at what's going on around the country and around the world?
I would definitely say I would have never in my wildest dreams thought 2020 would have been me going through a pandemic, but then also basically a revolution at the same time. Never in my wildest dreams I would have thought I would have been going through it. But with just recently what's been going on with George Floyd and the protests and the rioting, it's just, it makes you sit back for a minute and really reflect, because we all know somebody, or, you know, it could have been yourself who could have been in that predicament, that situation. And not even just George Floyd's situation, Breonna Taylor just being in your home and people just come in, the police come in and shoot you. So it really just wants you to acknowledge, it forces you just to reflect and just sit back and be grateful that, one, you're still here, but grateful that you have a voice and that you can use it to fight and bring awareness and bring attention and advocate for those who can't. So use that privilege. Once you turn 18 and stuff, vote. You know, don't wait till November to just be like, okay, we'll get this person out of office. Like, no, call your state legislators, be that active voice, apply some pressure on their necks. But in order for change to happen, you know, you got to really fight for it. So that's my take.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I've just been trying to block out the noise from all the social media, because, you know, some people could take this too far, but also just, you know, people in general today, people have a voice. Like, as I said, sports is a big way in the people, you know, NBA players going out and protesting with them. That's a big movement for them, you know? And it's just such a bad thing. You just don't think about something like this should happen. Why a cop would actually have that in mind. But all my respect is to the people that are in this revolution at the moment. So.
Yeah, I don't understand why people have the audacity and, lack of intelligence to not, respect and support people, especially when, this stuff is going around. Like Nakiya said, we have a pandemic, and then this on top of it is just, 2020. We didn't expect all these events to, arise and happen. And it's just, at the end of the day, we should all, just take it easy and, just mind your own business and just, respect people in general. So like we can prevent this and speak your word in a nice way. So.
I agree with Jaleel and Nakiya. Sorry. It's been hectic. It's been a lot going on, and hearing everyone's different opinions and what's going on and this and that. I feel like it all just comes down to respecting one another, respecting each one's beliefs, respecting at the end of the day, because this whole protesting, the rioting, it's out of grief, it's out of anger, it's out of everything that's going on. And I just feel like we all just need to come together as one, because at the end of the day, what can we do? We have a voice. And I love that this generation is speaking out and they're putting their voices out there and saying that we need to change, because us just sitting back on social media and just saying, oh, here's a picture, here's that, that's going to continue. But we got to push forward to make a change. And, I definitely had to log off social media because it has deeply put something inside of me that it's just angering. So definitely it's been a lot, but we got to do something about it, and not just say that we're going to do something. We actually have to do something. So.
Gotcha. Mr. Sims?
Kind of what Meia said, I've been straying away from social media a lot more since this has all transpired. But it is very unfortunate what happened to George Floyd. It was definitely uncalled for and everything. And I agree with all the peaceful protests, but I don't agree with like the looting and the vandalism and everything. I don't agree with that. But yeah, I've definitely been seeing both sides of the story and staying neutral through all of it. But yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, one, thank you guys for allowing me to be a part of this. I appreciate it. It's been, listening to each of you has been very fulfilling, refreshing, and inspiring. I don't know if you guys have any more questions for me before we get off. But I definitely appreciate your insight on, especially the last topic. The last question is something that I've written about for. It's funny. I wrote a story in 2015, or op-ed for CNN, and the basis of it was like, thank God for camera phones, because without that, no one would believe our stories that are now being played out in front of us via social media. So, whatever it is that you do, just this is me personally. I believe that just follow your heart and trust your instincts. For me, I believe God always speaks to me through my heart, and I believe your instincts are like, no one can compromise the integrity of your instincts. So if it feels right, you do it. If you make a mistake, if you fail, you get, pick yourself back up and keep it moving. But I always make sure it's for you and not for what others want you to do or what others want you to be. And outside of that, like, if there's anything I could do to help any of you guys, let me know. And, we'll go from there. So, and all my social media handles are just my whole name. I'm pretty vain. I like my whole name. So just Aaron Paxton Arnold. And yeah, that's it.
Well, I want to thank you, Aaron, very much for this. And I'm going to keep it in time. So we'll conclude out. I want to ask each person to give a one-word answer to a word I'm going to throw out to you. And that's how we're going to end out, so that the viewers get to know you a little bit. And I want you just to think and just give a one-word answer. One means one, not two. So I'm going to shoot out a word, and I want anyone to answer it and just speak out. Favorite song?
I can't say that song.
Anybody, come on. Time's running. Favorite song? Other words, I'm going to call on you. Anybody? Did I call someone?
Well, I can start. Shaka Khan's "I'm Every Woman" I think says so much, and that's mine.
What song? I don't think nobody even heard it. What's
Yeah, y'all probably too young to know, but it's been done a few times.
Yes, we are. We don't know about that. All right. Favorite subject?
Ooh, science.
What'd you say, Parker?
Science.
Awesome.
English.
English. Okay.
Math.
Art.
Oh, okay.
History.
All right. Your dream?
Oh, I can answer that. I'm living it.
Go ahead.
Living it.
Wow.
Mhm.
Success.
Okay. Can't wait to see.
My daughter.
Family.
Friends.
Washing hands.
Essential.
Before.
Do it.
Before.
I like that, Meia. Do it. Yeah, do it. I like that. Okay. Favorite instrument?
Guitar.
Guitar.
Drums.
My voice.
Drums.
And last but not least, physical distancing.
Essential.
Respected.
6 feet apart.
Mhm.
Healthy.
Good.
Well, on that note, it was very good of all y'all to take your time and share with us. I enjoyed it, and I hope the viewers will as well. And again, Aaron Paxton Arnold, we want to definitely thank you very much for your time and coming and your expertise with this, and Dr. Lewis for bringing forth Aaron to us, and your time as well with that. And I see Kendall was able to jump off, but you can tell him thank you for sharing his moments with us just as well. So for those of you who get a chance to look at this here, Cnovations, CNOVATIONS.com is the company that we have that is actually producing this. And then I will share that with all of you on here. Once this here is edited, you will actually get this for your own to be able to share out with your followers as well behind that. So stay tuned, everyone. Thank you very much from my end. Dr. Lewis, any last words?
Sure, thanks. I think what came across today was sort of the purity, sincerity. Each of you guys bring such a world full of ideas, opinions, and hopes, and like we sort of ended on, dreams for all of us to be able to get along better and also just hear each other. I mean, it sounds so simple, but I heard so many people's voices in the things that you all said. So many things that we want for the new baby, the teenager, the young entrepreneur, the intern, the student that's getting ready to play golf professionally, the person that may be going to the major baseball leagues, and those of you that love history and math and science and the arts. So we just hope that that continues to resonate and we really do become one and really try to work together for a happier, peaceful ability to respect one another and continue to love one another. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.